because we actually need to make room for the new innovation and not just to like keep funding people to do things cost plus that cost 10 times as much as they should. It's old. That's yesterday's technology. So this is very exciting.
Yeah, I think that's spot on. So, Joe, where specifically do you think we're going to be investing, and where is the growth within defense? Is it drones? Is it, crime-related products? What specifically are you looking at?
You know what we're looking at is all sorts of new. What's really going to be the biggest difference is you're going to have 5 or 10 new primes in this country. You're going to have the same type of people Elon Musk and Vivek are asking to come work 80 hours a week and work on Doge with high IQs. It's those sort of people with that background who are building the top new companies, whether it's Anduril, whether it's Saronic, whether it's Epirus, whether it's a handful of others. So you have a bunch of competitors that are a whole new type of the very, very best and brightest from our innovation world that are coming and that are growing quickly. And what are the technologies? Yeah, swarms of autonomous drones, swarms of autonomous vehicles on the land and on the water. It's new types of much cheaper missiles. There's new types of electromagnetic defense. It's new types of electronic warfare. But what it really is, Maria, is it's the best and brightest from the young generation, partnering with the top technologies in the U.S., combining them with advances from Silicon Valley, and applying them in ways that terrify our enemies. And you see a handful of these companies, and they're mostly private right now, and they're going to break through, and they're going to end up being the key way that we deter the bad guys.
I love it. Joe, real quick on crypto. I was with one of the lawmakers last night on digital assets committee. He told me when Trump comes into office, we're going to see the crypto industry, blockchain-related companies revolutionize our economy. Do you believe that? How do you think things change?
I think that the SEC has been harassing crypto, just like almost every other regulatory agency has been harassing every one of us and everything it does. And I think that, listen, you still want to stop any kind of crazy schemes, because there are crazy schemes that go on in crypto, and those will be stopped. But I think crypto will be a way that a lot of things can coordinate in AI, that a lot of things can coordinate in many parts of our economy, and I'm very bullish on what it's going to do when Trump comes in.
All right, Joe. Great to talk with you. Thanks so much. We appreciate it. Joe Lonsdale joining us. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Breaking news right now. I just want to report that a source has confirmed to Fox Business that the International Longshoremen's Association has walked away from the negotiation table with the U.S. Maritime Alliance. Fox Business is told that the ILA is staying firm on not adding any new technology to the ports, despite the U.S.-Mexico officials saying that no jobs would be eliminated as part of dock automation. The deadline for the deal is January 15th. Our source says, quote, this is September all over again. Wow. So here we are watching the potential for this strike to cut into the growth we're talking about right now. Ryan, your reaction?
I think this plays into what I was just saying. I think inflationary pressure is going to be greater. Workers have more opportunity to negotiate than they have in a long time. We have a labor shortage in this country. Baby boomers are retiring in droves. So labor inflation, I think, is going to be a big component. So I think I like having rosy-colored sunglasses on too. I'm an optimistic guy, but I think there's a lot of pressure on inflation, and I believe the 10-year Treasury at 4.3, almost 4.4%. That's telling you great, but I don't think it completely addresses the deficit right now, and I think labor is a big component of that.
Well, look at this. The ILA union walking away from the port negotiation talks. Guys, your reaction?
Yeah, I think we've seen this trend where there's a sentiment that perhaps the Biden administration would step in and take any action to stop a strike. We saw union leaders really frankly turn away from Democrats, and I find this strike to be a really interesting one because it's focused on automation at ports where that's in direct conflict with the kind of technologies you need to reduce emissions and the kinds of things that fit with the Biden agenda. So I'm really curious to see how this shapes out, particularly with President Trump coming into office.
I mean, is it realistic, Dan Muser, to say that there will be no new technology used in any of these ports?
No, Maria. I've had enough time in manufacturing and production, and every time automation, and it first of all improves quality, which improves sales and tends to lower costs. We've always added employees along the way.
Well, they're not having it. The unions are not having it. The union workers are walking away. They say this is their number one issue. They're walking away from the negotiation, Jonathan. Where does this come?
This is surprising because it looked like this was going down the road of getting resolved. What, a month ago we were talking about this a lot. But I think this idea that you're putting your flag on not innovating cannot be a good thing, and it's hard for any employer or anyone else to embrace that type of thing, to stay where we are, even though if they're keeping their workers, that should be enough. But stake in the ground.
Cheryl, I'm wondering if this is one of the reasons that we're seeing this rally in stocks, because if you see the unions walk away from these negotiations, you start to think, well, wait a minute, maybe this is going to spike inflation. Maybe we do have a second spike in inflation. As Jason Trenner's research has told us, that moves the Federal Reserve to cut rates further. It's all connected. Your thoughts?
It is, and I was looking at the Fed funds futures a couple of moments ago, and it's now got the 75% chance we're looking to cut next month. And Fed Governor Waller was saying in his speech last month that inflation has been a roller coaster. So Fed officials are very aware that this is a very volatile situation when it comes to inflation. So we're not at that 2% target, to be clear here. And look, I will say one thing about, at least with the rental component of CPI, which has been an issue that we were speaking about a few moments ago. In the third quarter, rental vacancy rates hit 6.9%. That's a jump. So besides Baltimore and New York, the rest of the country, those numbers are actually, it looks like those numbers are going to continue to come down. The food component, though, that's a supply chain issue. Different story. Hard to say, Marie.
Well, what about that, Louis Navalier? You started our conversation talking about owners and equivalency rent. What do you see in this CPI report that you want to point out that strikes you? And does this news of the ILA union walking away from the port negotiations talk, does that change anything for you?
Well, they're concerned about automation because they think it's going to eliminate their jobs.
Right.
So somebody's got to talk to them that your jobs are not going to be eliminated, and then hopefully they can automate just like everyone else automates. It seems to be pretty silly. They agreed on a 61.5% pay increase, I think, over 3 years. So hopefully cooler heads will prevail. And there's a lot of changes at the ports. We got a problem with the Panama Canal being dry. We got a problem with California demanding that the cranes be electric instead of their diesel right now. So there's a lot of logistics problems, and we just don't need this at this moment. So worst case, get some more money.
And what about the owner's equivalency rent? What did you see in the CPI number that strikes you?
Yeah, it's stubborn. It's a problem, and it's very frustrating to a lot of us why the government numbers are so slow. Okay, so it's not the real world as far as I can tell, and hopefully the number will get progressively better. But the uptick in food and chicken. Well, first of all, there's a bird flu that started in Washington State. My wife went to Vons in Southern Cal. They had no chicken because of the bird flu. So at least I have a chicken stock, so I'm happy about that. But and then Costco had its butter recall, so that's the FDA labeling. So there's 80,000 pounds of butter that just disappeared.
Well, look, this can't help. This can't help that the strike for the Longshoremen's Association is still going on, right? This can't help. This is only going to hurt the inflation story, isn't it?
Absolutely, but it'll get resolved because those are very high-paid workers. Those are very expensive cranes to operate, and it'll get resolved. I just think cooler heads have to prevail. They really have no business telling them how no automation. So we're just going to have to assure them that the automation will not threaten their jobs.
Hello, folks. Welcome to Kudlow. I'm Larry Kudlow. We spent an hour with former President Donald Trump at Mar-a-Lago earlier today. He was in very good spirits. Right after our interview, he was off to Georgia to again help raise private assistance in the aftermath of the destruction and loss of life from Hurricane Helene. Governor Brian Kemp of Georgia was going to be with Mr. Trump in Augusta. And tomorrow, he is returning to Butler, Pennsylvania, at the scene of the attempted assassination back on July 13th. He and I had a very good long sit-down this morning, and we're going to play all of it for you. The first segment coming right up was about the jobs report, tariffs, and of course, drill baby drill. Let's get right to it, and take a listen, please. Roll tape. Mr. President, welcome back to the Kudlow Show. We appreciate it very much, sir.
Thank you very much, Larry.
I want to begin, today's jobs numbers come out, and the top line was very solid, jobs report, Americans are working. But you look under the hood, it's the same stuff. I just want to read a